I'm the one I want you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Only you.
Pillow Talk. Moments with the Mobleys.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Pillow Talk After Dark. Moments with the Mobleys. I am your man, Johnny Mobley Jr.
And I'm still his doggone wife, Deidre. How y'all doing?
And we something like an ordinary couple.
With extraordinary purpose.
What's good, everybody?
Hey, y'all.
We are excited. We got a very special guest joining us tonight. Miss Mobley, how are you today?
I'm well, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Well, I'm sir.
Babe, honey, boo.
Just checking. This is After Dark.
All those things. Well, you don't want me to go just get like that.
It's After Dark.
Okay. Well, hey,
that's
honey.
all I'm saying.
Hey, babe.
So we got a very special guest joining us today. Miss Shamyra
is in the house.
She's a sexologist. We got her on the show, y'all, because we got a billion questions to ask her. So, Miss Shamyra, welcome.
Hey.
Oh.
Hello.
And we introduce her properly. She is a sex and relationship expert, a licensed clinical social worker, therapist, media expert, professor, author, and on and on and on. She's bad.com. And we are so excited for you to be on. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be with you. Thank you so much. I can't wait to get into some of these questions because I already know it. Y'all have some good questions.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to do that.
We have some good stuff. We have been married. It'll be 29 years next month.
And congratulations.
Thank you so much. We love Jesus. We also love each other very much. And
okay, let it be known.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
But we also believe that something wants to be on our screen. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. And so, but we also believe in sex and having fun and being, just being married and enjoying each other and just having fun. Because a lot of times we hear, especially one time, a visiting bishop at our church was like, the single people out here having, more and better sex than the married people. So I think there's something that's
not true.
Like marriage of, okay, so you get married and, sex is good in the beginning because it's the honeymoon and all that good stuff. But it's like, what happens after years and years and years. And especially, like I said, for us, it'll be 29 years in March of being married, 34 years this year from when we first met. And so it's like, you got to do
wow.
Yeah.
First of all, time out.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Time out. I can't. You said 34 years?
Yes, we actually met the summer before high school at 14 years old.
Y'all look amazing.
Thank you.
Black don't crack.
Black don't crack, girl. It don't split or nothing else. So yeah, we started young.
Yeah, we did.
And we have 6 older. Our daughters are grown, ages 25 to 30.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So we just want to talk about some stuff.
Yeah. So our biggest thing is, because we do marriage counseling and different stuff. We talk about how important sex is. The not saved people believe that they can do certain things, but I have no idea what Christians get that you can't be sexual and do stuff with your wife. And I'm like, all I remember in the Bible said the bed is what?
The marriage bed is undefiled.
Undefiled.
My Lord.
So that's married so you won't burn, but the bed is undefiled. So whatever you do.
See, that's people that don't read Song of Solomon. If you read Song of Solomon, then that's all you need. That's erotica. That's biblical erotica.
Exactly. years, he actually wrote me a poem using the Songs of Solomon. And when he told me that, I was like,
The
wait,
whole,
that's in the Bible.
the love,
It's in there. I'm telling you, it's in there.
Yeah, and it was good.
love
So,
letters out of the Bible.
go ahead. You want to start
No,
with your first
well,
question?
yeah, I'm gonna ask the first question. I'm gonna so let me ask you this. How do you model a conversation to your spouse who may be more conservative?
Okay.
Yeah, i.e., military. We're not military. Which is
Girl, I don't know.
Go ahead. I can't
Military.
even.
I get what you mean.
Okay.
So, being conservative in the bedroom, that comes from a lot of different places. So as a sex therapist and as a sexologist and someone who sees people who go from maybe not having any sex to having some sex to having all the sex and maybe not as much sex, we all have sex for different reasons and we get different sexual messages throughout our life from all different places, from church, from our family, from our friends, from the TV, from books we read. I remember I think I learned about sex in encyclopedias because I had encyclopedias and it was like a whole library full of these encyclopedias.
Wow.
And I was learning about zygotes and all of this stuff in going through the encyclopedia. And then there was Talk Sex with Sue. And she was a little old lady who used to get on TV at nighttime and she would do demonstrations with sex toys and teach us about sex toys. I'm sure I wasn't supposed to be watching this because I grew up in a house with my grandmother who was Jesus' own. I think Jesus sat on the right hand side. She probably sat on the left hand side.
Yeah.
So I probably wasn't supposed to be watching this, but that's where I got a lot of the messages I got about sex from. So I think I was up on my sex information, but a lot of people don't get that information. And the information that a lot of us get is don't have sex because you're going to get pregnant and die, or don't have sex because you're going to get somebody pregnant and die. And those are the messages that we get around sex. So what that does is it causes us to have some shame around sex. It causes us to be a little sexually repressed, hence that level of conservativeness that we might have when approaching sex. So people who you might listen to this and see if this comes up for you if you're listening. So how do you know if you might be a little conservative when it comes to sex, right? Because when we're talking about conservative, we're talking about maybe you are afraid to say the word sex. You are afraid to be sexual. You don't know what that means to be sexual. You think that you're not supposed to do certain sexual things. You get uncomfortable talking about sex, right? One of the main ways to remove the barriers and to make it a little bit easier to talk about sex is to talk about sex. And that's my motto, is to use your mouth. That is going to be, first we got to figure out what's going on. Why am I this conservative when it comes to sex? What are my thoughts about sex and where do they come from? And that's where you want to start with. You start with, what do I think about sex and where do my thoughts come from? Do I shy away from the conversation? Am I okay with talking about it? Do I think I can only talk about it in a certain context? What are my thoughts about sex? And so if you have a partner, or if you are a partner who might be a little conservative, start with that conversation. One question: tell me what you think about sex.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good. And I believe that wholeheartedly, because it's amazing how, when we deal with stuff, when we deal with couples, a lot of times we listen to them have conversations and somebody might step out on somebody. And that's because, the wife might got turned out by some dude who talked to her about sex, where husband y'all ain't having them conversations. That's very good. If, let's talk about sex.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. I think for us, because we were so young, like I said, we met at 14. I wouldn't let him kiss me until we were 15.
Oh yeah.
And
a whole 15.
And my crazy behind stood around and waiting. I was like, it got to be good. I got to wait.
I got to
see if you are was worthy of my lips. But and so for us, I don't think we ever, it was just like we were both like each other's first. And
Mhm.
so we laugh about this all the time. Like when it first happened, literally we got caught petting each other. We was, as they call it, dry heaving in his room with his
Dry
parents.
humping.
Dry humping.
Dry humping, yeah.
Oh, well, I'm just using all these.
And now we call it out of course, and we recommend it.
Really?
Yes.
But we was out of court, and girl, in his room.
I was saying out of course early. And that's what most of us did. But go ahead.
The company was in the den right outside his door, and his daddy called us.
So you say, Shamyra, you say that is an actual thing now?
Well, yeah. So it's and it's recommended because
Really?
when we talk about sexual intimacy, first of all, when we say intimacy, people automatically think sex.
Mhm.
But when you just talked about people going outside of the relationship, a lot of times people go outside of the relationship to get their intimacy needs met. And it has nothing to do with sex sometimes.
Yeah.
And so intimacy is a lot of things. It's how we show up in the relationship, how we respond to each other, how we pay attention to each other, how we express our emotions and how we accept emotions. All of that is intimacy, what we do with each other on a regular basis. And one form of intimacy is sexual intimacy. And when we're talking about sexual intimacy, it's not just genital to genital contact. Like you put this here and that's sexual intimacy, right? Sometimes sex looks like that dry humping. Sometimes it looks like, let me get my roll on and let that build up the anticipation to whatever might come next, right? That's called outer course. It might look like rubbing. You know how, and this is pillow talk, and so y'all get ready for this. Y'all know I don't go off the rails. That's why y'all wouldn't have had me here. But it's also not just that DJ booth thing. Y'all know the DJ booth. Y'all know what this motion is.
Yeah.
It's not just that, but that's also could be out of course if you have your clothes on or just rubbing. So basically all of that heavy petting that you do with your clothes on, now that is considered out of course.
Wow.
We was having out of course.
Girl,
yes. So
you almost got in trouble too.
However, that led to the back seat of his car.
Okay. Which is also recommended.
I don't know why, but I think for us, we just kind of explored together.
Good.
Explored together and kind of felt, I guess, so free with one another that it really wasn't a matter of no, I don't want you to do that. It was like, do that. Yep, I like that. Or I'll be like, no, I don't think I like that.
Now.
Well, that's now.
Then it was just like, oh my God, what's happening? My body.
Yeah, that was the newness. That newness.
Yeah. Oh Lord, what was that?
Do that again.
We were so free until I guess it wasn't freedom, but we were crazy until it was like every day, like literally. We lived on opposite sides of the town, and he would skip school to come pick me up so we could go get a hotel room.
Yep.
We worked, but on the weekends, that's where we were, at a hotel.
Yep, at the hotel room.
Yeah, at the hotel room. So we were very sexually active. And the one thing that we laugh about now is, like, I tell him, I'm like, a lot of people take different things for granted, but I'd be like, I thank the Lord for everything, like literally. And I also thank him that we're still attracted to each other, that we still have, we have intimacy, we have, great sex. Our kids don't want to hear us talk about it, but we just say whatever we want to say.
Good.
And y'all done had sex too. So
exactly.
We're gonna share.
So y'all gonna get these words, okay?
Y'all gonna get all of these words. Yeah, absolutely. So I think what was poignant when you said the fact about from going to not having any sex, being told, save that for marriage, don't do it because you're gonna get pregnant or you're gonna get a disease or you're going, you damn the hell, with
yes,
all of the damnation, all the fire and everything. But how does one, because we had a conversation with somebody who which it was great that she kept herself until marriage, but then when it was time to say perform, she was like, oh, wait a minute, this is too much. Like, I guess what do you? I guess you just said it. Like, have the conversation about sex.
Okay.
And just
So that part is a bit different, right?
Okay.
Because when you get a specific type, when you get a message that something is something, that message doesn't leave you. And just because you get married, we get these messages that we have to save ourselves for sex for our partners, our husbands and our wives. And you're not supposed to have sex with anybody else. And many of us do that and have done that. I didn't, but many of us do that and have done that. Those messages, when we get married, those messages are still there. There's no switch that says, you're married, go off, right? Go all in. There's no switch that flips. So you're still stuck with that message. And if you've not done anything in between that time from when you got that message to when you got married, if you've not done anything here, then all you're still left with is a spouse in those messages. And then what a lot of people see happens is they begin to have sex and they realize that I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't like that. Is it supposed to be like this? And one of the things why people don't do some things that they don't like to not get it right, especially sex, because of the other messages that it's so great and this person has amazing sex and you're supposed to be able to enjoy this amazing thing with your partner. A lot of people, they just give up on it. And that's why a lot of people say that, okay, we got married and it's not what it's supposed to be. Like, they don't even want to do it with me. Like, they're rejecting me. I have to beg for sex. They don't want it. It's because they're not confident. They don't have the information. So my recommendation for someone is to get all the information you can get. You can save yourself. You can have all of your boundaries while still learning about your sexuality and learning about sexuality in totality. And that's what will prepare you. And having these conversations about expectations and reading like research and information and just preparing yourself so that when you are faced with this, you're like, okay, I read this, and don't go into it like thinking that you got to get it right. Allow yourself to be a beginner. Okay, I'm a beginner in sex. So let's start at the beginning level. This is what I read they say you do at the beginning level. Some people come sit on my green couch when they're getting ready to get married because they're like, okay, Shamyra, we're about to get married. We're going to do this premarital therapy, but also we need some advice about techniques and what we're supposed to do, because I've never done this before and I heard this or I heard that. So my advice is to get information.
Great.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Scared that they won't get it right. That is powerful.
Right. Yeah. I never even thought about that.
Oh man,
we was just crazy. We was crazy. And
we
nasty.
we ain't cared if we got it right or not. We were just like, girl, what this is? Oh, okay,
that's great. That's that good exploration.
Yeah, and that was both of us. You got the next question, babe?
I do. So, what are some ways to create a safe place or to give, I guess, couples the tools who may be intimidated by toys?
Okay.
There. Now, let me tell you how I was introduced to some toys.
Let's go.
A friend of mine was getting married, and I think another friend girl, through like a little bachelorette type deal or whatever. And so she had her a sex party or a toy party.
Yep.
Can't remember what the name of it because it's been quite a few years.
They used to call them fantasy parties where I'm from.
Okay. I've heard of them before,
okay.
Yeah.
And so of course it was only girls, and we had the hors d'oeuvres and the little cocktails, mocktails, and everything like that. So I walk in there and literally, I'm gonna be completely honest, like I said, we met at 14. By 16, I think, is when we became sexually active. So it was like, I was still fairly young, maybe like in my 20s. I'm 48 now. So it was maybe that I went to that little party thing maybe when I was in my 20s. And as far as toys, I was like, I was green. Because at one point I did tell him, and I'll be completely honest, I was like, we used that condom that one time, but I don't like that. I like just the natural feeling, sir. And so I don't want that anymore.
Hence the 5-6 kids.
Right. All these kids later. But at any rate, I told him, and I was just honest. Like you said, use your mouth. You have to talk. And, granted.
Like the rawness. Thank you.
Right. No, but at that party, I was like, and even though I was like totally free with him sexually, because at that point we were married, I walked in there and that stuff blew my mind.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Never seen, huh?
You came back to talk about it.
I
and
did
you
tell
was
you
like,
about it.
You
I
like,
was like, they had these dildos and they had
stuff
these.
all over the place.
I said, now I did get some of the oils and they got edible stuff in there, whatever. I said, but I don't think it wasn't no dildo gonna do nothing for me, baby, because I don't like fake. And so, but let's talk about it. What,
Yeah.
So how do you, I guess, for somebody who do want to introduce toys to them,
Yeah.
I mean, how do you do that? How do you do that?
So I really like that story. And listen, I really appreciate, although I was brought up like a church girl, I really appreciate that I had some experiences where, you know, I was able to learn about different things. And I think that's what pushed me into this field, is because I did have those experiences and people who were giving me like real information. One of the things, like for people who might be intimidated by toys, because some people, church and not church, they're like, I don't want no toys. Like I got a man, I don't need no toys. And some people feel like if their partner uses a toy without them, especially, that something's wrong with them, right? Like if you need to use this toy, that means something is wrong with you. First of all, toys are not a replacement. A toy can't ever replace the real thing, right? So we don't ever want to look at a toy as a replacement or competition, because the two can't compete because they don't compare. So you can't compete where you don't compare. So don't put those two up to each other. Toys are only there for enhancements. It's there to make things a little wetter and a little better, a little harder. That's what toys are there for. It's there for enhancements. And women and people with vulvas and clitorises often need toys because of the way our bodies are structured. The only way we orgasm sometimes is through direct clitoral stimulation. Actually, over 80% of women can only orgasm via direct clitoral stimulation. So sometimes people are like, I'm all you need. And it's like, no, you're not. Sorry. I need a little bit more because I have a clitoris and I need a little bit more stimulation in the clitoris. And you doing this isn't giving me the stimulation, that friction that I need in order for my body to experience that release. So the first thing I would say is change your view on toys, reframe your view on toys. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people, they're okay with it. They have a positive view on it, but it's still not their cup of tea, and it's fine if it's not. But don't yuck anybody else's yum. So if somebody else likes it, great. You could use it with your partner. Talk about one of the questions that's in my card, use your mouth card deck, is what are your thoughts on sex toys? Ask your partner that question. What are your thoughts on sex toys? And find out what they think. And then one way to break the ice, let's say you talk about it, you're like, you know what, I want to try some type of sex toy. Don't go to the sex toy that's like this long, this wide. Remember, when you first starting out on something, we got to be a beginner. Allow yourself to be a beginner, right? Beginner. Say it with me, y'all. I'm a beginner. So don't get this one, okay? Because you're never going to want to use a toy again. And maybe you might. I like to tell people to start off with your body. You have a whole body. A lot of people only use their mouth and their genitals during sex. You have a whole body. You need to be using this whole thing right here that you got, this whole vessel, this full, you got a body that's equipped with the full armor. You need to use every piece of the armor that you have on your body, your hands, your feet, your elbows, use your nose. Your first sex toy, your hands, your mouth, and your nose. Let me tell y'all about the nose. I don't know if y'all ever have y'all ever got a nose job?
No.
Nah.
Not plastic surgery.
Oh, well, that's what I thought you was talking about, but
no, but have you ever used your nose during sex? That's going to be, if you're watching this, if you're listening, go use your nose. And what I mean by that, you want to put your tip of your nose on your partner's body and rub it across their body. any place that you could imagine that you would probably use your tongue or your mouth, put your nose there. So rub your nose around down their neck, rub your nose on the nipples, rub your nose on the genitals. Now, don't get me wrong. You are going to laugh if you've never done this before. This is going to be, you might get hysterical, but that means you're doing it right. Because I tell people all the time, if you're not laughing during sex, then you're not doing it right. But get your nose and rub it all over your partner. Just the tip. Don't just smash your nose into them. Use the tip of your nose and rub it all over your partner's body. And then send me an email or call me and then tell me about it after. That's all I'm going to say. But use your body first. Your body, you have a whole body. You talk about sex toys, use your body, right? And then if you want to move into sex toys, if you want to, let's say you might not be ready to go spend money on a sex toy. Look around your house and find some things, because we usually say anything could be a sex toy if you're adventurous enough. But you look around your house and see what you have. I'm not telling you to stick a remote anywhere, so don't do that. But I'm telling you to, like, if you have something like a Kleenex, this can be a sex toy, right? A sex prop, a sex toy, a Kleenex. So basically, it's you ever been like had a feather? So this works just like a feather. You just take a Kleenex. A paper towel might be too hard, y'all, but you never know. But you take a Kleenex and you rub it in the erogenous zones. Those are parts of the body that are really sensitive and that stimulated. I'm going to give you 2 erogenous zones that you might not know are erogenous zones.
Okay.
One is going to be behind the kneecaps. Take this. Yeah, so you know where your knee bends, right here in the back? Yes. And another erogenous zone.
I don't know.
That's good. I'm taking notes. Mm-hmm.
Take notes. Behind the knees, rub that. But also the knees itself. Take that, massage those knees. Don't fall asleep. Okay, this is supposed to be sexy.
Right.
Massage those knees and the ankles. After you do that, call me. But you want to take this and you want to rub this all over erogenous zones. And then when you're done with it, throw it away, because it's probably not going to be, you're not going to want to use it. Throw it away when you're done with it. Okay. And so we're talking about starting off as a beginner. And then you might want to move on up. Okay. You might not be ready to go to the big leagues yet. So you get something else that could be, that you could use, like a massager. Like I have this body massager right here. This is a sex toy. You just use this all over the body. You use this on erogenous zones with some oil, some lube. You get some body oil, rub it in your hands. And then we're moving on up, right? And we're talking about people who you might not want an insertable. You might not want something that you insert. You might not want something like this. You know, you might want something that both of you could use, but also that she especially might like. So you want to go to something like a cock ring, a vibrating cock ring. So this is what a cock ring looks like, right? So you have this part that's, don't worry about this, because I know y'all watching this and you're like, how am I going to use this? This stretches, so don't worry about it. You could put a whole water bottle around this. It stretches, right? And it's not going, you put this around the base of the penis, and this part right here, this part goes, it faces the clitoris. So what happens is it tightens around the base of the penis, which makes your penis super erect and hard, which gives you more stimulation. And when you turn it on, it vibrates. Now, y'all not going to be able to hear this, and that's the good part. This one vibrates really low. So the vibration is felt throughout the penis, and it's stimulating the clitoris. Boom. Sex toy. You didn't even know you could. Sex toy. That's a sex toy. And so, that's sex toy. And you might be a person who says, you know what? I don't really want the cock ring, but I'm cool with the cock ring. I'm good with it. Maybe next time. I just really want to use a sex toy on my wife, because I'm familiar with the orgasm gap, and I know that women have a harder time orgasming, and I am committed to her pleasure, and I know she wants to orgasm, and I want to make sure she do it every time. with me, without me, whenever. Then you want to go to the bullet, right? And so a bullet, there are so many different types of bullets, but a bullet is used, you can use this for direct clitoral stimulation. See, this isn't intimidating. This is, you don't put this inside of anything. This is not intimidating at all. It's, you strictly use this on the clitoris and it stimulates orgasm. And so this one vibrates, they vibrate at different levels. So you can find different bullets that could help do different things. And you could use these on other erogenous zones like nipples and behind your neck and behind your ears. So they, sex toys don't always have to be so, they don't have to be so intimidating. Right. But one more, and y'all don't, and couples might like this.
Okay.
So this one's for a couple, right? Because you know you could do this stuff by yourself, but you also want to bring the F word to your bedroom. Y'all know the F word, right?
You said, yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's the F word? Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
I just want to make sure we got to say fun.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh.
Oh, y'all, I didn't know y'all was wild, but I thought y'all was gonna say something else.
I was too.
I'd be like, Lord, am I allowed to say that during sex? But I feel like this. I'm with my husband. If we ain't having a good time,
yes.
something is wrong.
Something is wrong. And this will give you a good time. So this is a toy that is a couple's vibrator. It has a remote control to it. So I'm about to show you. You like a couple's, how you use this as a couple, but this is called a relentless vibration. It's a remote control couple's vibrator. So what you could do with this is the same idea, right? So you would basically take this part and wrap it around the penis, just like this, like so. And this part right here would be facing the clitoris, right? And I have all of this satin stuff all over it. So I just want to show y'all that so y'all don't think it's nothing weird on this. This is just for demonstration purposes. It comes out of this bag. So you place this around the penis and you turn it on with you can use the remote. And it's fun for the couple. So it gives vibration. So the vibrations are felt not just in the penis, but they're felt in the testicles and all throughout the body. So those are just some ways that you could introduce, starting from the bottom with just using your body and moving on to household stuff. And then when you get ready to go into the store, different ways for you to use this. And don't forget to get you some water-based lube so you don't have that burn, the friction from using your toys. All right? What y'all think?
Wow.
That's good because
Girl, you taking us to
literally
school.
we were going on a getaway for our anniversary one year. This was, like I said, several years ago. And I, on my lunch break, took my happy behind in our toy store is called Joker's Novelty. And so I went there on my lunch break and I was in there literally giggling the entire time. And I was like, because they got cups, you know, the cups for the men shaped with the shape on them, and then the penis shape as the handle for the men's cup. I picked up that. I had everything, Shamyra. And when we got to our destination, he was like, "What in the world did you buy?"
I ain't said what the world. I said, what the?
With the other F word. No kidding. I'm kidding.
I mean, because but you would be surprised because I know that there are probably a lot of, per se Christian women who feel like, oh my gosh, I can't go into that store because
right.
That I could use, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, that's just a place of, of just straight sin or just whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't feel like that when I went in there because, again,
you have a husband. That's you gonna use that stuff with your husband.
You know what I'm saying? I'm with my man. And so I feel like whatever we do that gives us pleasure, of course, like you say, you have to make sure that you're agreeing on what you're going to try or use or whatever. Because at one point, I think that's where I saw those pearls.
Yeah.
The pearls on the string, right? And so me, as crazy as I am, I said, honey, I bought all this stuff. I bought the cups. I bought, some of the edible stuff you put on, lotions and all that kind of stuff or whatever. And I said, but they had some pearls in there, baby.
Why you ain't get them? She said, well, listen.
Yes, please listen, because you might.
Pearls. I said, well, you should have brought them. We could have. She'd have been, no, listen. I said, okay, but they for you. I like, for me, for what? And she was like, she told me what it was. I was like,
no, I'm gonna pass on that one. Pass on the love.
Let me just hold off on that. Now, I do want to say this.
Okay, well, say
I do want to say this. I've had men conferences, and we talk about just about everything. And one of the things that we've talked about with the marriages is about sex toys and whatnot. And I've had some men say they're fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
Other older men say, sometime, it don't be working right for me, so I got to make sure my wife taken care of. I don't want her to go nowhere. And then some men saying, well, if you got a sex toy for your wife, then that means you ain't doing your job. And because I'm psychologically, I know what needs to happen, but I didn't know how to answer that properly. But what I did tell him is, I told him the phrase you said, that it'll never replace the real thing. And they said, well, just imagine you just walking in from hard day's work and your wife just in the bed with the thing and she just laid up. I said, well, that means you need to take a shower and hurry up and get over there.
Or leave her alone and let her finish. And then get over there if she.
But I'm like, yeah, so I thought like that. But I can be honest and say, at one point in time, I felt the same way. I said, if I couldn't please my wife, then I would feel like, then because she's using a sex toy, because I can't do my job.
Yeah, so I've been married for almost 11 years. And so I remember when I first got married, before I got married, I had sex toys. And I remember one day I was like, you know what? Give me a garbage bag. I'm throwing all of these sex toys. Give me another garbage bag. I'm throwing all of it. You got another garbage bag? I'm throwing all of these sex toys away.
Uh-huh.
A few years later, I went back and got all my sex toys, went to the store. We all went, because we were at a point where we were like, okay, we're going to explore with some of this stuff. And then, of course, I started working more, and we started, when you do this, you have to use this stuff. When you get all of this stuff, you got to use this stuff. So I'm like, hey, you want to put this on tonight? You want to use this? So we started really like, viewing sex toys. I started viewing sex toys differently. It wasn't a replacement. It's just to enhance pleasure. And I can do this by myself. You can do this with me. If you want something, whenever you want to ask me to use something, if we could do that, let's get some lube. You want to use this lube? Let's do that. So it's all about pleasure. And the thing about it is, so many of us have been shamed for the way we like to experience pleasure that we shut down. Like, we shut down and we block out everything, and we go into ego mode, right? We go into the ego of, if it's not me, then no. Nah, because I know I put it down. I know she be going to sleep after I'm done. Like, the neighbors know my name, all of the good stuff. And it's like, okay, all of that might be good and fine. Yeah. But y'all might still be able to use this toy. You can still explore. And that's the reason. One of the reasons why and it's not about sex toys, but one of the reasons why a lot of couples say we lost the spark or we lost the flame in our relationship is because they stop finding ways to be interesting to each other, right? And once you stop finding ways to be interesting to your partner, once you shut down and you put that wall up and you stop finding ways to be interesting to your partner, if your partner's interested in that thing that you shut down, guess what's going to happen? There's something that's going to be chipping at that wall. So you can have that wall up. And I don't mean another person. It could be the thoughts. It could be conversation. It could be that wall is being chipped. So I'm not saying that you have to oblige and do this, but you don't want to shut down the conversation. You want to talk about it, and you want to be vulnerable, and you want to say, I never really thought about using toys. That just wasn't something that we did. We always looked at that as something that if you need to use a toy, then something's wrong. And if, I want to know that I'm the one that's giving you everything you need sexually. And one thing couples need to understand is you can't be everything for your partner. Like, that's just not how life is set up. I'm not saying that you need to make sure that whatever your partner can't be for you, you find another person or but what I'm saying is take some of the pressure off of yourself. Like, were made in his image, but you are not him. So you can't be everything to your partner. And that's what couples say. We struggle with that. Like, if I'm your partner, I'm supposed to be able to do this. But it's okay because you're only human and you can't do this. You can't do everything. So what we do in those cases when we know we can't do everything is we figure out what is important. Is this something that I absolutely need? In 5 years from now, do I think this will be something that is very much beneficial to the relationship? If not, I might not need it. It might just be something I want. But if it's an orgasm, and if I'm not having orgasms today, and I won't have orgasms with you 5 years down the line, then I need it. And you need to figure it out. And if a vibrator or a bullet or a sex toy is a